Oh boy. Oh boy. Lads, where do we start with this? Where do we start with this, huh? Where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? Lads, we're going to get a few people in the building. We're going to talk about the whole Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou situation. It's going to be, from what I would imagine, the primary talking point of this live stream. You could pop in with other questions and stuff like that as well. Everyone's more than welcome to. We'll let the chat build up, but I can already see there's already people champing at the bit to leave a chat and stuff like that. So we'll get to dealing with them questions now in a sec. But my initial thoughts on this is, well, like, think of it like this, right? This has been, how do I describe it? Do you remember when Fury fought Dylan White? And in the ring after the fight, he was talking about retirement. And we've heard Fury mention that in the past before. He's talked about it. You know, he's flat out come out and said it in the past, but you've always taken it with a grain of salt. You always kind of knew it was never really on the card, so to speak. Certainly not in the short term. Obviously, he's not going to be around in 20 years' time in terms of boxing. We know that. No, pretty much everyone of the current generation won't be. And that's probably even prospects turning over. But that one time he said it against Dylan White, you got the impression there was an element of truth in it. Maybe he had felt like, I've come to the end. But maybe he wasn't, in a sense, saying he's come to the end of being a boxer per se, but being a boxer who is looking to go down the road of chasing glory, because his last fight with Derek Chisora, which should never have happened, certainly not for the world title, and now his only fight in 2023, if you even want to call it that, is Francis Ngannou. That to me is someone who's no interest in being around, certainly in a boxing sense of the game. He has an interest in the money sense. He's as interested in the monetization sense, for want of a better word, but not the actual competing and enhancing your legacy. Because if he was really all about legacy, he would be chasing the Alexander Usyk fight. And the fact of the matter is, we don't have it. If that fight had it broke down for maybe different reasons, maybe reasons that were beyond Fury's control, or just in general, the way it happened, then he should be going out and targeting guys in the top 15. That's what he should be doing. If the best available opponent isn't there, he should be fighting the contenders that are available. If some of them are tied up with matches, their own fights and stuff like that's what I mean. Well, then he should be looking at who's free and who's highly ranked that I can fight. You shouldn't be looking at Francis Ngannou, as far as I'm concerned. Frank Sanchez has been mentioning Fury a lot. He's mentioned that he's primed and he's ready. And for me, although Usyk is the fight I want, I would be I'd be extremely happy almost. Like if you're Francis, I'd be thinking that's a great fight. Maybe not in terms of entertainment wise, but the intrigue on it. Stylistically, it's an intriguing fight, but we're not getting that. That's my few little words in there. All of a sudden, a win over the 10-year reigning champion and 5-year undefeated WBC champion in their own backyards means nothing. You are having a laugh. Well, the Klitschko win was a good win. No one's taking that away from Fury. And yes, he did beat Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder, lest we forget, was to protect the champion. At the end of the day, right, you're saying that means nothing. It's still about good achievements. But Tyson Fury, you need to remember, he is claiming that he's the best of this era and that he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. If you are going to make claims like that, well, we're going to look and see what the other people who have that claim and people in the boxing communities and just fans in general would view as the greatest and see what they did. And we're going to compare Tyson Fury, and he has not done anything to what Lennox Lewis has done. He's not done anything to what Muhammad Ali has done. People like Larry Holmes and stuff like that. He's not defended the title nowhere near as many times as they have. He's not tried to fight the best. Alexander Usyk has all the titles. He should be chasing undisputed, but he's not doing that. He's chasing Francis Ngannou. Big up to Nick every time. How are you, my friend? I hope you're good. It's been a while since we've done one of these, actually, hasn't it? It's been actually weeks since we've done one of these. I've had a lot on, like a lot, like really a lot. So I've not really had the time or really had the energy to do one of these. But it's nice. We're getting back into it now. Big up to G-Man. I'm away from home at the moment, so we'll catch up on the playback, gang. Respect to you every time. I hope you're good, mate. I hope you're good. They say it's not an exhibition, but it's not counting on their official record. Sounds like an exhibition match to me. Yeah, it does. But as I said in the video, there are, I don't even know what you would call them. I really don't, because like they try and make themselves, out to be the kind of sanctioning body, but they're not really. Like the British Boxing Board of Control is the main one in the UK, but underneath them, I can't even remember what it's called. It's like the IAB or something like that. But they do kind of pro fights. Like they are. I would imagine the fighters are getting paid as well. Probably not much, but they're getting something. But the fights don't go on any of their record. And it's not Queensberry League. I think that's something different. But they're a kind of Mickey Mouse organization. If you want to say they're exhibitions, you could. I don't really know what you call it, but I would imagine it's going to be something like that, where it's kind of a pro fight in every aspect of the game, but it's just not going on their record. A big up to Ali Drew. You're not first tonight. You're not first tonight. A big up to JD. I can't believe the WBC have already lined up Marshall's mandatory and she only just won the belt, yet Fury can fight whoever he wants and whenever. What a joke. I seen that today, and that's the first thing I thought as well, is that like Savannah Marshall has only just won it and already they've got a mandatory lined up. And they've done this before, It's not uncommon with WBC. They have their favourites, which is just their credibility is through the floor. Because for some, it's a case of one mandatory is done and another one gets thrown upon you. And for others, you could go 2 years in Charlo's case and not have one mandatory thrown upon you. It's completely ridiculous. It really is. Like Beterbiev will have a mandatory thrown on him like that if he beats Callum Smith. Literally, watch Artur Beterbiev. They'll just call a mandatory, and they've done that in the past. Like Beterbiev, his last mandatory prior to Callum Smith was Marcus Brown. And Marcus Brown hadn't fought a WBC sanctioned bout in I don't know how long, and he hadn't fought at light heavyweight since he lost to Jean Pascal in 2019. And at the end of 2021, he was named as mandatory challenger. And they ordered that fight. And like, one, what did he do to earn it? And second, what? You ordered that like that, and then you order Callum Smith almost immediately. But yet, Charlo can have 2 years away from the ring and they didn't strip him. It's bizarre. Get the popcorn ready for this one. Let all the hate on Fury for getting his Saudi bag when Usyk bails out and signs with them. Like, here you go. Here is someone here who they love using that hate. So when you're pointing something out that someone has done, so let me just say, right, so with Tyson Fury, when he moves the goalposts, right, and you point that out, oh, it's hate, right? But yeah, if Joshua done the same thing, because I use Anthony Joshua, you would just say, that's justifiable criticism. See, like, these people, everything in the modern, like, so-called world nowadays, it's like if you criticize anyone for anything that people have an emotional attachment to, oh, you just hate that person. No, it's nothing of the sorts. You're pointing out all the inconsistencies that this person's coming out with. You're pointing out what happened there. I hope to God that didn't feck up. I hope to God that's okay, actually. You're pointing out all the things that this guy has done, and you're not doing anything wrong with that. You're just pointing it out. But yeah, it's hate. But yeah, if you did it to someone else, oh, that's A-okay. So if Joshua was running around doing the same thing, oh, it's justifiable criticism. But when Fury does it, it's deemed as hate. Really? Yeah, there you go. Of course he is. See, Frank Warren, at this point now, like, Joe Joyce is lost, and what really is he going to do if he wins or loses against Zhilei Zhang? Dubois, I think he's just, I don't want to say cashing him out because he's not going to make a crazy amount of money, but I think he's kind of lost a lot of the hope he had with Daniel Dubois. I hope it looks fine. I think he's lost a lot of the hope he had with Daniel Dubois. Adelaide, Atelma, now there's someone you might have some hope for, but he's a good few years off really bringing in that kind of money. Who else does he have? He's Nicky Ball, who was very entertaining. I'll give Nicky Ball credit, but I think at the highest level, he's going to come up short. Fury really is. He's been keeping Queensberry's head above water for years. So Frank Warren, he's not going to speak ill of it. Bob Arum has other fighters. Bob Arum does business with a lot of other promoters like Klimas and Krasuk, who they're not happy with this whole situation with Fury. Bob Arum has a life and a stable outside of Tyson Fury. So he's like, the hell with this. Yeah, I don't, you know what? I don't even know really how Frank Warren is probably just like probably thinking, I don't care. I have got that bag. I hope Saudi permanently ban Fury and Warren after what happened, after what will be an abysmal night of boxing. Saudi should endorse real sports, not free contests. They endorse WWE, mate. Like they pay to have loads of WWE events. They don't give a damn. Even the G-Man in the chat, hope you're having a good evening. It's a good evening, mate. No complaints, no complaints. Assuming Usyk and Fury both win, they want to fight March the earliest. Imagine it could be March next year. You know, it's like, you know, I've heard Hatman say the same, that like with the Fury Usyk situation, it's about keeping Usyk active in a way, fighting Dubois and hoping Dubois maybe weakens him a bit, and then maybe fighting Hergovich and hoping the same, all the while Fury is doing exhibitions and not having to worry about it. You know, in centuries gone by, if you looked at like battle or something like that, if there was ever a battle where, say, you were unsure about, if you thought, okay, I don't want to risk going into battle and having my full army against this guy or this force in case we can't beat them, why don't we just send in another army led by another commander? If they win, happy days. If they don't, well, if they're fighting with a spent force, they can't recoup it. We're just going to go in and just pick them apart. I mean, that's happened throughout the course of history. That was actually what the Battle of Hastings was meant to be about. Well, they tried to do that originally. That was the whole point of the Battle of Hastings. The Battle of Hastings, obviously, people would know Norman Conquest 1066. The king at the time, King Harold, his brother wanted to meet William the Conqueror in battle and use kind of some of King Harold's army and wait for the army to recoup, so that if they lost, which they kind of knew they would, they could just fight them after that when they've got a spent force and they are fully back to force. But he chose not to do that, and he just engaged them. He lost. He probably would have won if he'd done it the way his brother wanted to do, but hey, that's it's not boxing related. We won't talk about that. Evening to Joe, I hope you're well. I'll have a look at your video now soon, mate. I can imagine that's going to be an interesting watch. Big up to Joe Stunner Boxing. Feel like we should go full soy boy, cancel culture, and dig up old stuff Fury said and get him stripped by the WBC. I hate cancel culture. I despise it. So no, I don't think the WBC even cared. They know about that. They don't care. They really don't care. Fury completely irrelevant now. Just the traveling circus. That's a complete another waste of time. If Fury vacated that title and just said, let the ref get on with it, I'm going to do my own thing, I wouldn't have an issue. Personally, I wouldn't have that much of an issue. I would still like to see the best fight the best in Fury Usyk, but if he just said, right, this is how it's going to be, I'd be like, fine, just yeah, whatever, fine. But the fact that he is clinging on to that title, like, mate, what up, mate? Total joke. Howdy, big up to Barry. Okay, let's address this. Warren said game changed, and Jordan said it was interesting and exciting. You know, Eddie Hearn must be kicking himself for coming up with the game change saying, because everyone's using it now. And he was the first person to say that the zone was game changed. Certainly ain't that. This certainly ain't game changed. And of course Simon Jordan would say that. You know, I don't understand it. You know, talk sport. You see, here's the thing, right? If this was the zone, right, and say, let's just say Joshua was doing the same thing. Let's say he was fighting Francis Ngannou, just took him out there, right? I have no doubt that the zone will be big in that fight up. Likewise, if it was Sky Sports and they don't really have a massive star, but let's just Sky Sports are fairly thin on stars, but let's just say, I don't know, Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Let's say, I'm just trying to think, they're fairly thin with stars, but let's just say they did the same thing, something similar. Let's just say, Jesus Christ, Anthony Joshua went to Sky Sports and he did the same. They'd be the same. They'd be bigging it up and saying, you know, this is exciting, etc. You know they're saying that because that's their fighter. He's fighting on their platform. With Simon Jordan and Warren and TalkSport, Warren isn't affiliated with TalkSport. You know, TalkSport aren't the major network who are only showing Queensbury fighters. You know, they do the commentary for all the events. You know, you go to a Queensbury fight, you'll see Andy Clark there. You go to a BT show, or you go to a Sky, well, he commented in Sky, but you go to a Matchroom show, Andy Clark is there. So TalkSport do a lot of the boxing, but they're not really affiliated with anybody. But you wouldn't think that with the way that, like, if Eddie Hearn did that, pitchforks at the ready from TalkSport, Simon Jordan and all. Warren Queensbury do it. Interesting, isn't it? That's what it's like, mate. By flying guillotine. Don't think Fury ever actually intended on coming out of retirement. Just these fighting circuses. I don't watch Ultra, really. I'm not against them. I've just never really watched them. I do genuinely believe retired after White. As I said at the start, it's kind of like he retired without retiring, if you get me. It's like he retired from the I'm not going to fight the best, but I will fight who can make me money and who I'm not going to lose against, so to speak. You know, that's kind of how I have a look at it, because the way he said it against Illinois, the way he spoke about, you know, calling it, it was kind of like there was an element of seriousness about it there, which there wasn't in the past. So you were kind of like, oh, is he actually serious about this? That's kind of how it felt. Sanchez, Hurricane, Reese, Anderson, Bacoli, all decent fights that Fury could have had if he really wanted. Makhmadov, Yalalov, Arsenal Makhmadov, yeah, Yalalov. Just trying to think, yes, said Sanchez, Hurricane, Zhang. You know, you chuck his name in there. All decent fights, you know. It's, yeah, you know, even the Valine rematch, I would have took that at this stage. I know, obviously, Fury would have won, but it's a bit of intrigue anyway. Why everyone don't claim you're the best if you're not willing to prove it. That's exactly it. Like, I mean, you know, again, right, if Fury came out, right, and said, look, here's the WBC belt back, I'm done at the highest level. Maybe not going to say like that, but it's like, I want to spend more time with my family. I don't want to go through the trauma of going through a big training camp for a big hard fight when I'd rather do these types of fights. If he said that, I'd still want to see him fight Usyk, and it's just the best fight, the best. But I'd be a bit more okay with it, because I'd be like, okay, well, look, he's not holding the division up. He's taking a step back. You know, he's taking a step back. So for him, it's kind of like, you know, all right, he's going there and the rest of the division can get on. But he's not doing that. He's claiming he's the best without really, truly proving him. He's had 6 world title fights, 3 against the same guy. All right. He's, like, whenever he's not even attempted to unify, the chances come several times with Usyk, and it's just been no. You know, other chances to fight the best, or at least the best contenders available at the time, no. And, you know, that's what the guy earlier was saying, like, oh, it's hate. It's not hate. You're pointing out the obvious. Like, this is the truth. There's nothing I'm saying here which is demarably untrue. It's true. And if you want to claim you're the best, if you want to say, I am the best of the best, all right, well, how do you compare to the others from the past who have that claim put upon them? Certainly a heavyweight. Muhammad Ali, yeah, he did fight exhibition at the very end, but during his career, he fought the best available opponents in the 60s and in the 70s when he was past it. You know, Larry Holmes, how many world title fights did he have? Lennox Lewis, undisputed champion, Evander Holyfield, etc. These guys did what they needed to do. And believe me, they left a legacy. But Fury beats Klitschko, beats Wilder, I'm the best of all time. What? That's what legacy is. You can't keep using the past as an excuse not to fight. If Fury took this bet, yeah, exactly. Like, if he did a Riddick Bowe, because like with Riddick Bowe, he ducked Lennox Lewis. There's no ifs or buts. And I always felt like Lennox Lewis, like, it's a hard one, that fight. That fight's a hard one for me, Lennox Lewis versus Bowe, because I'm a big fan of Bowe. Big Bowe fan. But at that time, I don't know. I really don't know. Big Bowe fan. And I'm disappointed we never got that fight. But at least Bowe just said, right, let the division carry on. Just, I'm going to go my way. You go your way. The division ain't stagnated. And thanks, Matt, for the super chat. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Every little bit helps. Fury knows his body is done. Oh, his actions show that. Didn't see the map. I would say, look, Fury isn't stupid. He's not stupid, and I think deep down Fury probably does know his body probably is not what it used to be. He's not as fast as he was, and unless it's the right style, this just ain't gonna work. And I think that's probably what's on his mind. And he probably is like, if I fight Usyk and I lose, probably given the fact that he's at a point in his career now which he always wanted to be at, you could always see it irked him the way Joshua was getting all that love and attention. He's now getting it. And he's seen how quick the tables can turn when you do take an L with Joshua. And he's just like, no, I don't want that. I want this to never end. But if you fight the best, if you claim you're the best and you fight the best, inevitably, even if they're not better than you overall in their career, like Ken Norton didn't have as good a career as Muhammad Ali, but you could argue he beat Muhammad Ali 3 times. Overall, Ken Norton was a very short reigning champion. He might have been one of the shortest in history. I don't think he was, but I think he's down there, one of the shortest in history. Overall, he didn't have as good a career as Muhammad Ali. He lost to guys who were not as good as Muhammad Ali, like Jerry Cooney. But he beat Muhammad Ali once and made many people feel he should have beaten 3 times. That's the way boxing is. If you fight the best, you're going to run into a style that just doesn't work for you. Ali could not figure out Ken Norton. Just he could never figure Ken Norton out. Kenny Norton was a great fighter as well. Great fighter. It's been 4 weeks. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's been a crazy 4 weeks. It's been a testing 4 weeks to say the least. It's our new job though, which I really like actually. I'm finally actually think I found something that I'm enjoying, which does give you remote options. So the goal is save up some money. Hopefully we can keep this, move over to the UK and just work remotely over there. And actually it's a UK company, so it would actually benefit them more having someone over there. Although the actual office over there is in the Midlands, and I'd be moving towards kind of London or somewhere like that. Well, definitely London, 100% London actually. I was saying it's definitely gonna be London. If Fury was gonna retire, he would have given up his belt and never did so. Tells you that was not his intention. I think he's using that belt almost as a prop, almost. Massive difference between MMA fans and boxing fans' opinion. For the other, says the SJW, SJW MMA gen, think it's a great contest. It was like that with Mayweather and McGregor, though. They tried to sell it so much. This week, have it recorded, mate. So, a lot of editing, because this one could be a 20-plus minute one. But no, have it recorded. Don't worry. It's done. Need to send it over, get it edited. I didn't begrudge him. Floyd fought loads of top champions. He was essentially an easy fight. What has Fury done lately? He was out of the ring for a couple of years. He retired. He gave up all his titles. There was no title on the line. It's just the build up to that fight drove me nuts, because it was just so obvious Floyd was going to win. And yet, McGregor's going to win. It was just like, oh my God. And the place I was working at the time was just loads of people. It was like a couple of hundred in any given time. They all were like, McGregor's going to win. It was just like, let this please be over, so I don't have to listen to this anymore. Seriously, let me just be, so I don't listen to this anymore. He's all about money, nothing else. If you remember, he signed to Warren because he offered more money than Eddie. The big fights where with Eddie Hearn, Fury never wanted that. He's a fraud, simple as that. Exactly. What's game changing about this? Sweet FA. Yeah, it's just, well, like, they've no one over them. So, like, if you think about it like this, right, the WBC, you could say, like, and obviously he's not, but it's like a king. A king can make up his own rules, and they are, in a way, kings over their fighters. They could just make it up and say, well, and who are they answering to? It's like, we can just change the rules. It just suits us, Who's going to tell us not to? We're the sanctioning body. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I do know. No, I know we did it, obviously, but I haven't actually watched it yet. Looking forward to it, though. Delighted, Ade's been a great help with me, and seeing him, how he's doing, it inspires you almost, because, like, I'm kind of almost at the point now on this channel anyway. I know he done a bit more as well with journalism than I did at the time, but I'm almost at the point now that he was at when he helped me out first 4 years ago. Which is crazy to think, really. And to see where he's come in a short space of time, and it just has you thinking, like, oh, what can I do if I really apply this? That's one of the reasons why I want to move over to the UK. Because I love being at events. I love going to them. I love interviewing fighters. I absolutely flip and love it. And I don't want it to be a once in a blue moon type of thing. When I have to, say like, right, I'm going to go over this time. I just like, no, I want to do it all the time. So that's what we're hoping to do. Obviously, I know it's not exactly straightforward. There's a lot of planning involved, and it's easy to say like we can do it in the next 2 months. We can't. It's probably going to be January, maybe even February next year, but we will wait and see. Probably, you never know. But let's see. Oh, I wouldn't imagine they'd be. I wouldn't imagine there'd be many offering decent odds in favor of Fury to win. If he's not stripped, the boxing organization needs stricter time windows fighter can fight outside of an injury or tragic life circumstances. Of course, that's fair enough. Every champion should be fighting twice a year. If a fighter is injured, that is the whole purpose of a vacant title, an interim title. It's the whole purpose. If there's an extraordinary situation going on in their life, look, I'll give you an example, right? Like, if a fighter loses, we'll say, their spouse or their parent, and it's in the run-up to a fight, that's a horrible situation. And no one would begrudge them pulling out of the fight. No one would begrudge them that. And if they need a couple of months to just be with their family, because it's not nice. If that happens, you can understand them maybe saying, okay, look, we have a mandatory, it's due here, but we'll give you a little bit of leeway with it. That's fair enough. If they're going through something, you could say, like, okay, I'll give them a little bit of extra time. Not 2 years, but I'll give them a little bit of extra time. Likewise with an injury. If an injury is prolonged, like let's say your injury is going to keep you sidelined for, say, 16 months, then recess, champion of recess. I think it should be within the realms of a year or so. If it's over a year injury, then it's like, okay, yeah, no, champion of recess. That's fair. But there's none of that. And it's a case of, like, imagine Artur Beterbiev, right? I hope he doesn't do this, but missed 2 years in the ring. The WBC would have stripped him a long time ago. They don't want it to be an exhibition because that seems rigged and will have no KO clause. But Fury doesn't want a debut opponent on his record. How will the industry spin this? I don't know, mate. Nobody hates or denies Fury's talent when he's in the ring. It's when he's not in the ring that's the problem. I've always said, look, if Fury and Usyk got announced tomorrow, yeah, I'd pick Fury to win. I'd be picking Fury to win. I think Fury's tremendously talented. He's tremendously talented. His ring IQ is very good. And he's smart in a sense of he knows his body well enough to know that he needs to adapt his style. It's one of the reasons why Sugar Hill has been such a good influence on him and has been able to adapt to that Kronk style, because he knows himself, look, I'm getting older, heavier, I've not lived the cleanest life. My legs can't move like they could in the Klitschko fight. I can't maintain that movement for 12 rounds. So he's been able to box more on the front foot, leading with the jab, and being a bit more aggressive. And he's been able to pick that up. Fury is the exception rather than the rule when it comes to a fighter changing trainers and instantly picking it up. That's not normally the case, which shows the talent he is. He's a tremendous fighter. He really is a tremendous fighter, and that's why it's so frustrating. You see this fighter is so talented, and you want to see, like, okay, how good could he be? Who could you put him in there with that could actually test him? That we could have, but he's just not doing that. Jerry here would say, I'm a boxing casual, as it's not the main sport I follow, and since Joshua has lost the belts, I find heavyweight boxing less interesting. There's been a lot of people who've been saying that now, mate. There's been a lot of people who've been saying that. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. Casuals are the life and blood of the sport in many ways to keep the sport going, to be fair. That's the thing. I know a lot of people, myself included, would moan from time to time, but if it wasn't for the casuals, these guys wouldn't be getting paid so well. I mean, if it was just hardcore fans, I mean, Jesus, it'd be a very sad sight going to the O2 Arena. I don't find it less interesting. I find it frustrating, but I love heavyweights. So for me, it's always kind of like, and I doubt that very much. Man, that guy ain't giving nothing. Simon Jordan pretty annoyed at Joshua for criticising him on talk, but I didn't see that. No. PBC's been making crazy moves the last 6 months, making every other promotion look like a joke now. It's crazy, really, isn't it, that PBC seemed dead a year ago. You know, the inactivity and everything, and now they're just getting big name after big name after big name. You're going to have to wait for that one, man. I can't. We're still a few weeks, but you're going to have to wait for that one, man. I'm not going to give that away. I don't give that away. The marketing has in a corporate event, sorry, sounds like a spin or a long sparring session. Oh, jeez. That's it. No. Would have loved to have seen. I would have loved it too. Do you think Francis fight will be pay-per-view? Of course. Mate. You asked me, do I take that? Definitely. No, like that's what I said. They love using that word nowadays. But it's like that with everything. Like it's like you cannot have a rational debate on pretty much anything nowadays without someone. I don't even want to say it's insult, but they'll just stigmatize you by saying, you know, you're this or you're that or you're a hater or you're a this. And all you're doing is just trying to give your opinion. A lot of the time, your opinion is actually correct, and you're pointing out a lot of the inconsistencies and a lot of the flaws in certain things. And because some people just they don't have they can't comprehend it in their head how anyone could look at something that's not from outside their point of view, so to speak. So it's like someone. I'll give you an example, right? It's like imagine there's a really attractive girl, right? And you know, she's really attractive. You know, you think, yeah, you know, she's beautiful, but you just know she's not your type. There's women out there like that where you look at them, you're like, oh yeah, no, she's pretty, but I can just tell already she's not my type. So when someone turns around to you and says, oh, would you go out with that girl? It's like, well, yeah, she's pretty, but no, she's not my type. Oh, there must be something wrong with you. Oh, there's clearly something. It's like they're just so in their own mind. It's like she's perfect and I like her, so everyone else has to. I can't see how anyone else couldn't, but yeah, someone else could look at her and just be like, she's not my type. I remember Hatman was doing a podcast a couple of months back, and he mentioned that one of the guys who was on the Animal Group at the time, thank God he's gone, was saying that you could not look at Layla Hepburn, who was like a Bitcoin chick, and not like instantly want her. And Layla Hepburn she's very attractive, but damn, she ain't my type of girl. Hell no. But he couldn't understand how anyone could look at her and think, oh, she's wifey material. Hell no, that wouldn't be my type of girl. Hell no. Yeah, she's pretty, but not even that pretty. Trust me on this. Fury and Usyk will never fight, but Fury and AJ might. Seems more likely we may actually get that fight, truth be told. I'd love to actually see if Joshua would like actually proper square up to Simon Jordan, what would actually happen. Have they released the price for the Fury? Oh Jesus, me, God knows what that's going to be. If someone asked, will it be pay-per-view? It's like, no, it will be pay-per-view. They ain't giving that for free. But how much will it be? Didn't know you were a history guy. I love history. William the Bastard, as he was originally known, obviously he was illegitimate. His mother was a tanner, and his father was the Duke of Normandy. Amazing. Yeah. So, and he's obviously descended from Rollo, Duke of Normandy. So he's a bit of Norman and Viking. Without the ripped jeans, that is a game changer. Hit the like button. There we go. And thank you, mate. I really do appreciate that. As I say, look, every little bit helps. £5 or £2. I asked for it, but thank you nonetheless. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, mate. And big up to Joe Stunner Boxing. I can't wait to have a look at your video, mate. As I love watching Joe Stunner, especially on this, because he's he's great to watch. So Joe Stunner Boxing, if you haven't, please, my man. Must get you back on here soon, actually, mate. Have to get you back on. Have to get Outmatch on as well. I haven't had Outmatch on in a while. You have to give Warren his props. You can see how battle hardened he is, and he's showing his full arsenal when it comes to spin. That's fair. You know, you're actually right there. You know, Warren is a fighter. He really is. Warren's an interesting one. Warren will just, you can't keep that man down. You know, even in the worst of it, the height of it, in the Box Nation days, who would have thought at that point that he'd come firing back? You know, and he'd be making money anyway. And yes, you're right there, mate. The last thing boxing needs is that nonsense. And Jones the same night, still wouldn't have paid it. Yeah, for me, it's like I didn't pay for Fury's last fight, didn't do a watch along, and I certainly won't be doing the same for this one. By the time Fury fights Ngannou, would have. Oh, sorry, I didn't read that right. By the time Fury fights again after Ngannou, it would have been Chisora Ngannou. Yeah, like literally, he's only going to have one fight in 2023 because that's way too less of a time. Even if it's an easy fight to have a fight in December. Has some money in Queensbury, otherwise none of his behavior makes sense. It really doesn't. And the fact that, like, look, when he had Eddie Hearn on with the Conor Benn situation, right, he should have grilled Eddie Hearn, right? But it shouldn't be a case of he only grills Eddie Hearn. And when Frank Warren does something or tries to spin a narrative, he's just like, oh, really? It's very interesting. Whereas when Eddie Hearn does it, it's like, you're wrong. This is true. It's like, no, it should be like that both ways. Yes, Eddie Hearn is talking nonsense about the whole Conor Benn situation. You're right to point that out. But Frank Warren's talking nonsense too. You have to point that out. Crazy how easy it was to make the fight, wasn't it? Yeah, that's one thing, isn't it? Like, that this fight just seemed to be, boom, done. There was no kind of going off without a hitch or anything like that. So when he wants to make the fight, it can be just... That's one thing I actually use. I forgot to say, I actually forgot to point that out in the... I forgot to point that out in the video I did, actually. Yeah. It would make more sense if they had an MMA fight. Exactly. And shout out to Nordic. Shout out to you, mate. I hope you're keeping well. Jordan likes to claim he's not biased towards Queensbury, but he clearly is. I mean, of course he is. Warren Talksport outright lied about this announcement. Frank called it game change. Jordan was hinting that it was very interesting and exciting. Can we get on their arses? Can we get off their arses? I think he was saying, for F's sake. Jordan just hates Eddie Hearn because Hearn lost a fortune on his palace, whereas Barry did well out of Leyton Orient. It's an old rivalry. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs. I know Barry in Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient's near. Actually, no, it is Leyton. Yeah, Leyton is like literally Stratford and Forest Gate. I think I've been in Leyton, but never in the stadium or anything like that because I got the wrong bus. I ended up in Leyton. I only was like, hang on a minute, the city is that way, and I was going the other way. Let's see. It's a long way in the future. Well, a couple of months away. Absolute rubbish if anyone pays for this. Yeah. Be interesting. If the billionaires of Saudi can't entice Fury, who can? That's true. That's actually a good point. Yeah, very much. Would rather Fury fight Charles Martin. Hey, at least he'd come to win. At least he's got a left hand. Yeah, that I don't get that myself. It's a good bit in the future, so I don't know. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Well, you wouldn't imagine. I wonder who's going to be. I wonder will Sugar Hill be in the camp for this? I wonder what's going to happen with Sugar Hill because obviously John Fury's been talking about getting rid of Sugar Hill and stuff like that, which again, it just shows the type of characters Fury has in his camp and the type of guy John Fury is. When Sugar Hill doesn't draw a line and doesn't spin a narrative, John Fury is saying get rid of him. Because why? Because he was overtraining Lawrence Okoli and he said that, and he basically let the cat out of the bag that Fury had no intention of going through with a fight with Usyk because he said he'd already booked the plane ticket home and he should be sacked for that? Really? Get out of here. Not out of protest, out of pure disinterest. I'm getting more into MMA. You know, I've always been a bit of a casual MMA. I am watching it a bit more now. And look, it's all right. It's all right. I prefer boxing in terms of combat sport. Boxing is my favorite. But I just won't watch it because I probably will watch it, but I won't pay for it. I'll watch it by other means, as Joe Stunner says. I'm very peaked about Undisputed Fight not happening, but I'm also, as an MMA fan, happy that Francis broke away from the UFC. That's the one thing, like, you know, the UFC fans are kind of happy in one regard because the UFC guys get pennies. You know, they really do compared to what the main guys in boxing make. It's crazy. It's really crazy when you actually watch it or when you actually see it. And I just ignore those Fury fans. They're idiots. AJ is still a bit... No, he's not. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry, mate. Fury is a bigger draw still at this point than AJ. I'm sorry, but he is. It would do okay, I'd say, that Dylan White fight, but I don't think they ever released the pay-per-view numbers for Joshua or for Fury versus White. But no, at this point, I would still say Fury is the bigger name. He is. It doesn't sell well. The Saudis lost interest in him. Will lose interest in him. If he loses value, we'll never get the Usyk fight. Probably. Oh no. Did he not actually? Oh, mate. Oh, that's not good, man. Oh, mate, that's really not good. If he didn't answer, that's not good, man. I've yet to calm down from doing my own video on the Fury Fast, and listening to it is making my head explode even more. Warren is morally trash and Fury is gaslight garbage. What a joke. Mate, I can't wait to have a listen. Joe Stunner Boxing, lads. Don't spoil it for me, but let me know how upset is Joe in the video if you've already listened to it. How upset? Go on, how upset? By the way, 135 in the building, lads and lassies. If you could, please, if you wouldn't mind helping your boy out, smashing the old like button. Help your boy out. Smash the like button. We've only got 43 likes. Look at that. I got 43 likes. And we've got 135 in the chat. We need to get about 60, 70 likes going. Come on, man. Our WBC partially blamed for their antics. They give Marshall an immediate mandatory name straight away and surely just won the belt. Surely they should have forced him to. Here's the thing, right? They can actually, I said at the start of this video, with the Beterbiev Marcus Brown situation, they can pluck mandatories out their arse when they flipping want to, without any of them even having a final eliminator. But yeah, for certain fights, they'll do that. Fighters say they'll do that, but they won't do it for Fury. Big up G-Man, can you shout out my cousin, mate, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but RG. Shout out to RG. I hope I'm saying your name right, mate, but shout out. Shout out to Jay Jr.'s cousin Archie. Just getting him into boxing, keep up the good work. Get him in, man. It is a great sport. It's a great sport to be involved in. It's a great sport to partake in. Yes, being a fan of boxing, it is like the abused spouse. You do come home at times and think, has it changed? And it's good for a little while and then, bang, but you come back. You come back. But no, shout out to him and hopefully he gets into boxing. I'll always love boxing, as bad as it can be at times, and at times it can be awful. It's my sport. Oh, yeah. Oh, he probably won't defend the title, but they'll probably put on some bizarre virtue signaling title. It's just, I don't know. Mark McCoy, you're disappointed with Fury. He has the opportunity to be the best in the world, but the money has gone to his head. You are a fighter, so just fight. Bloody hell. I'll fight him for 200k. Hey, I think a lot of people would. I've got the sausage roll in for this, G. Loving the sausage rolls. I wouldn't be a big pastry guy now myself, but I actually wouldn't be a big pastry guy at all. Tax can be a pain. Remote work revenue will try to do you for double taxation, really. What I was thinking of doing actually was just keeping it under an Irish. So what I was doing is if I could move to London but keep my job, I would just not going to change banks. I know that probably isn't the best idea, realistically, especially if you're in London and with exchange rates and stuff like that. But I was thinking of just doing that. Can I ask what the job is? So it's kind of like accounting. So I'm doing invoicing now. I'm doing a lot more. And I prefer the accounting end of it now, to be fair. So I'm doing a lot of that now. And I like it. I've only been there a week, but I'm already a lot happier. And I already feel a lot more welcomed. And it just feels nice. I'm happy. I'm in a good place with it now. Obviously, it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'll tell you the truth. I hate being an employee. I hate look, this isn't me having a go at people who like this. Some people love it. But I love the independence of just being able to do what I want to do. That's why I love and I try and make YouTube something. It's slowly creeping up, but it's not quite there yet. It might be another year or two before it's there. But it gives me the freedom. I hate this. People used to always tell me when I was growing up and in my teens that enjoy school to the best days of your life. I hated it. I never look back. I've never looked back and thought, I wish it was this. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated the routine. I hated all the, you have to be here at this time and here at this time. I love just being able to just drop it and do it whenever. I love that. So for me, routine has never been something I enjoy. I always like being a bit kind of out there with things, do it at my own time. If I need to start something at 1 a.m. in the morning, I'll do it. If, that's the way I'm feeling, rather than you have to start it at 9 and have it done. It's like, no, it's not me. Obviously, I'm doing it now, but hopefully not for hopefully not long term. And Ade's story is brilliant. And it was mad. I was watching his 175-pound challenge, and it's like he did it in his flat. His flat's lovely, by the way. I've been in it, like actually in, obviously when we filmed for the Zone, it was in there, and it's a lovely flat. It's so nice. I wish like there could be like affordable flats like that in London. Like, it's so nice. It is literally so nice. And he's got the rooftop garden. It's not actually his, it's everyone in the complex's garden. But he brought me up there, like, and I was just thinking, like, a nice summer's evening, and the view. It's got a nice view of Canary Wharf. It's like, that's what you want, So Ade, man, Ade's my G. Ade, me, are mates. So I love seeing him do well. Always. And I know he likes it as well when I do well. That's the thing. Like, there's no egos or anything like that. Like, I love seeing him do well. And whenever I hit like a milestone, and obviously it's not as big as being on the Zone and stuff like that, but whenever I do something, or even whenever he gives me an opportunity, and as he says, you've done it, you smashed it, I can tell he's happy as well. So there's a closeness there, there's a friendship there. I'm happy with it. I like it. And Ade is great. I wouldn't have a bad word said against him. No way. Fair Jared Anderson fighting so quickly after 4-4. Yeah, look, Jared Anderson, man, I like Big Baby. The real Big Baby. IRC, sorry. Some boxing owner told the WBA to drop the regular and interim title. Yeah, mate, they've been doing that for years. They've talked about doing that for years. They've never done it. Years and years and years. What heavyweight legends would Usyk defeat in their prime? If never heard, I've never heard anyone ask that. That's a good question. Him against Holyfield would be a very interesting fight. I'd probably pick Lennox Lewis over Holyfield. Might even pick him over Klitschko. Might even do that. Vladimir, maybe not Vitali. Maybe even Vitali. Him against Ali would be an amazing fight. I'd pick him over the likes of Frazier, Norton. Foreman. Him against George Foreman. Jimmy Young is a bit of a mover, and he gave Foreman lots of problems when they fought in 1977. Fury was in the gym training for Usyk. His body says otherwise. The body don't lie, man. I've been in the gym. I've got a six-pack in my head. I'll just draw it on. That's what some of the guys are like. And here's some of the guys that are like, yeah, I'm flat out. Some people really do. Like, even men, like, they do an Andy Ruiz where, like, they're in the gym and they stand in such an angle with black on that it makes them look thinner than they are. And it's like, oh, he looks in good shape. And then he turns around, you're like, oh, now he's pregnant. I find the loser of this fighting Miller. You think, I many disagree, but at the time I would have picked Bo to beat Lewis. Yeah, Lewis was with. Yeah, he would have been with Pepe. Yeah, he would have been with Pepe Correa at the time. He wouldn't have been with. I know he wouldn't have been with Manny Stewart. I don't know, like that. Maybe in '93. I think it was '93 when he threw the belt in the trash. Maybe, but I always think Bo would have. See, Bo, I love Riddick Bowe, right? Big fanboy of Riddick Bowe. I really am. But I know he had his limitations as a fighter. He definitely did. No, I still don't think he does. Tyson being in WWE. Yeah. Remember that? Well, I'm actually very surprised how the media, whether it be TalkSport or IFL or Defending Fury, we are meant to rely. But mate, like TalkSport, I mean, I don't even know there. But IFL and people like that, like, they will not ask difficult questions. And look, I go back to this interview all the time because it's an example of what happens when you get real journalism in boxing. And that was when True Jordan interviewed Tyson Fury and started asking difficult questions. And you saw what happened. And he turned around and said, you'll never get another interview again. That's what a lot of the BIFLs of the world don't want. Because they make their ad revenue off them. You look at IFL, right? Let's say they go to a boxer show, right? And Zach Chelly is headlining, and you interview with him. You get maybe 5,000 views for IFL, maybe a bit more. You interview Tyson Fury, you get 300,000 views. They do not want to lose that. They just do not want to lose that. Man, I'm missing. Is Hatman your favorite boxing content creator? If not, who is? Hatman is up there, so I don't like. Do I really have a favorite content creator? Not really. Like, I mean, like, I kind of just like, I listen to Hatman, I listen to Joe, Ade, Chris, the Boxing Brotherhood, Henry, Outmatch. I listen to all them, and I have to try and get Henry and Outmatch on, actually do a live together. We get a bit of the Boxing Brotherhood. We get 3 out of the 5 of us on. I listen to Jamie, and thank God Jamie's back. We've missed him. And if he's listening, we missed you, Jamie. Obviously, I was still in contact with him, I was texting him, but still missing his videos. Listening to Jamie. So, and I'm missing people out there, so I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people. Like Bass. I listen to Bass all the time. Shout out to Bass every single time. So I don't really have any favourite. I like them all. And what I like is not everyone has the same opinion, which is fine. We don't all have to have the same opinion. Like, look at me and Hatman, right? Hatman will always be adamant, I think, at the fact that he thinks that Joshua didn't want the Fury fight in December. Whereas me, I'm like, no, by all accounts, Joshua did want that fight. Fury moved the goalposts, and I will stand by that. No. That's no. Well, it still does help the algorithm. It still helps the algorithm. Outmatch breaks down the small details of boxing. Yeah, Outmatch has a great. You see, that's his background is in like all the sports psychology and science and all that, and his background and all that, so he knows the ins and outs of it. He's got a great mind for it. And me and Outmatch are friends. Obviously, every time I'm in London, I always meet up with him. So Outmatch is tremendous. I love watching his videos, and shout out to him, member of the Boxing Brotherhood. The Boxing Brotherhood. We'll get it. We'll keep it going. We love the Boxing Brotherhood is the best. We got a good thing going there. Frank Warren was losing his mind on TalkSport justifying this fight already announced today. He's completely lost. He has completely misread this one. I can't believe Frank can come on TalkSport and lie so easily. How anyone could believe Usyk is the issue when literally he's fighting Dubois. And they made that fight relatively easy as well. They made that fight relatively easy. It's not like Usyk was like, Dubois messing there. It's like this fight got made pretty damn easy. Usyk is the real people's champ. True that. I'm pretty sure the Wilder fights did. Yeah, I don't understand either, mate. It's just... Oh, he's definitely one of them. He's definitely a see you next Tuesday. Mate, I will. I have to get... I've been not able, really, in many ways, to do these lives. Because I've had a lot of stuff on, as some of you will know. So now that I don't have free time, per se, but I have more structure to my time, for want of a better word. So I can get more of the guys on and I can do more. Because I like doing these, as well. And obviously I'm doing the crime stuff as well, which is still good. And I've got stuff recorded for that. This fight is an abomination and an insult to boxing. I ain't gonna lie with you. A lot of people are saying, a lot of the MMA guys, I'm not saying you are one of them, mate, but a lot of the MMA fans are saying like that they are happy for Francis Ngannou to get that payday. And I can kind of see where they're coming from. Don't change your address to a UK address with your HR department. Why not? I would have thought that would make more sense if I am. And the HR department is located in the UK anyway. Think Fury having a relapse and nightmares about Usyk. According to Fury, Usyk deserves 30% because belts count for nothing, and AJ deserves 40% because he has, just. Dear. Lewis was 6. Oh yeah, he's already answered the question. Lewis is 6'5". Not interested in Fury fights until he fights top 10. Oh man, Joe Parker is a oddball. I mean, I don't know. I think Lewis would have. Lewis was a technique. Lewis was brilliant. I love Lennox Lewis. I would have probably taken Lewis to be Usyk. Would have been a better. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Lewis wouldn't have had an easy time. Certainly not. But he would have. I think he would have edged it. Isn't getting out very awful. Well, to be fair, I think he did injure his hand in his last fight. That's exactly it. Like it's horrible, really, isn't it? You know that you have to be so careful, and like at the end of the day, I don't go to every event. I don't go to many of them, so for me, I don't really care. But like I've had no issue getting to events, as you know. But I don't really give a you know what. I'd be like, if I don't go to a Fury event again, I don't care. I'll take a bump of pretty you know what. Doesn't actually help. Doesn't get you high. I wanted it so bad for years. It's crap. Ice is amazing. Instantly rough hangover. Good to know. Anyway, Fury should use his own phrase, Dosserod himself, holding the Weeby Crux belt ransom. The fans have had enough of this drug cheats. Yeah. My old buddy. Tony Bellew has had enough of his wife and kids since he nipped home for tea once or twice when Eddie was busy. When is he fighting? I'm all for it. Just get the mic off him. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, DAZN needs some change-ups there. They need to get my old man Harley Quinn. What's G-Man's real name? Some people know it. A lot of people would. Oh, shit, they want to do that. What's your prediction? Why did KO AJ in December? We have to wait for that, man. And I can't be given... The whole point of doing a prediction video for like when these fights get announced is to kind of keep you like, who is he picking? And wait and watch the video until the end, and then you see who I'm picking. Give it away on a live stream, kind of wrecking it, aren't I? Kind of wrecking it then. So I'll talk about that when it gets announced. I hope we get that fight. I really do. I hope we get that fight. Oh my God, do I hope we get that fight. In terms of everything else, lads, I'm probably going to call it here. I only really tend to do the hour. The hour is like peak for me. The hour is peak for me. So we're just under the hour. I've got some stuff to be doing anyway. I'm going to have to get some recorded videos. I'm going to do a few videos on Spence Crawford in the next few days. So I want to get them. I want to get some analyzing done for those because they're analyst videos. So I want to have a look at some of their past fights, which is no chore watching Spence or Crawford fight. Love both of them. Love watching both those guys. So I'm going to be doing that. I hope you all enjoyed the live. I enjoyed it. I had great fun doing it. This was a great little live, actually. I enjoyed this. If you could, smash the like button on the way out. 130 of you still in the building. So, you know, we get some good viewing figures in these lives, don't we? 130 of you bad boys in here. So thanks again for locking in. I hope you all enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Of course, lads and lassies, if you couldn't, if you haven't already, I mean, hit subscribe. We're nearly at 11,700. We're not far off it. Let's get to 15k by the end of the year. I've no doubt we can do that. 15k by the end of the year. Let's rock up to 20 next year. Imagine, hey, we can do that. We can do that, man. One of the biggest around. One of the biggest. Getting there. Getting there. But doing well. Doing better than I ever thought I would. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button as always. Peace and love. I'm out.